What are some of the lowest tax countries in Europe? That's going to be the topic of today's video. Now, Europe as a continent is not known as a place with a lot of low tax countries. However, there are some countries out there which are pretty low tax. Now, number one is Monaco. Now, obviously, most people can't afford to live in Monaco, even if they're relatively wealthy. But what a lot of people don't realize is it's actually fairly easy to at least get into Monaco, because some countries, including the UK, if you're not a resident or citizen already, if you want to get in by investment, it can cost millions. Whereas with Monaco, you only have to put in 500,000 euros into a bank account. I say only, obviously for a lot of people that's a hell of a lot of money, and for most people it's a lot of money even if they can afford it, of course. I don't think there's anyone watching this video who would think it's nothing, but actually compared to some countries in the world, like our high income places, usually it can cost millions, right, to go for those kind of residency by citizenship or residency schemes, where you have to actually essentially buy a residency. So actually for some people, obviously Monaco's a good option, especially if you're very, very wealthy and you're prepared to use a certain percentage of that wealth to get in. But let's say you can't afford a place like Monaco, or for that matter, Switzerland or Luxembourg. Some of the countries in Eastern Europe actually can make sense. So for example, Estonia has 0% corporate tax on retained business earnings, at least the last time I checked. So in other words, if you run an Estonian business and you don't actually take money out of the business, or you only take out some money from the business and you just keep growing the money, basically there's 0% tax on that. And distributed profits are taxed at usually maximum 24%. Now that might have changed when you're watching this video, because these things always change over the years, but Estonia is a pretty good one. Bulgaria only charges usually 10% flat tax, and there's many other places in Central and Eastern Europe which also do that. Another thing is British overseas territory. So places like Jersey, Guernsey, Isle of Man, and so on. Now the reason why some people like this particular option is, number one, it's English language, even to a greater extent, of course, than Monaco, where there's a lot of French speakers, which isn't a problem for some people, but other people want to be in like a native English language environment. And in addition to that, at least for British people and even for some European people, it's possible to get in without too much hassle. And finally, it's not as expensive as a place like Monaco in general. So the taxes aren't zero. In fact, often they're as high as 20%, but it's lower than the UK mainland. And for that matter, often when it comes to corporate taxes, it can be even lower. And it's more accessible. You don't usually have to, say, put 500,000 in the bank, or you don't usually have to spend 10, 20,000 or whatever a month. It's much more attainable for people, or a higher number of people, I'd say, than the Monaco option, where you have to spend a lot of money, or at least put a lot of money into a bank account, and that's lost money indirectly. And then you have to spend quite a lot of money on a monthly basis on living costs as well. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.